I now recognize the Honourable Minister Steenhuisen.
House Chairperson, yesterday, South Africa's future was put at stake.
Order, honourable members. Order,
Shortly-
honourable members.
Shortly before the cabinet meeting yesterday, the President informed me that he intended to remove Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield as a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition. I requested 24 hours to speak to Whitfield and to inform my party. However, before I could do so, just 3 hours later, Whitfield received a letter informing him of his removal. The apparent reason for this sudden and ill-considered decision is that Whitfield did not obtain permission to travel abroad earlier this year.
Honourable Minister Steenhuisen, will you take your seat, please? There's a point of order. Order, honourable members. Honourable members.
Chair, I rise on Rule 68. The last time I checked, we were debating the
Order.
Division of Revenue Bill. The Speaker, with respect, is irrelevant to the topic of today. Thank you.
Yes. Honourable Steenhuisen, Minister Steenhuisen, will you get back to the topic under discussion, please?
House Chair,
Order.
I'm setting out the reason why we will be voting, how we will be voting in the House today on the floor.
Order, honourable members. Honourable members. Honourable members, let's listen. Honourable members over there, can you please quiet down now? Order. Honourable members, order. May I request the Chief Whip of the Economic Freedom Fighters just to ask the members to calm down. You don't even know the reason yet. So let's listen to the debate, honourable members. Chief Whip of the EFF, can you calm down your members, please? Thank you. Thank you. Please proceed, Honourable Steenhuisen.
But the facts of this matter contradict this flimsy reasoning. In fact, on the 12th of February, Deputy Minister Whitfield had written to the President requesting permission to travel. 10 days later, he had not received a reply or any response whatsoever about the trip. Whitfield subsequently wrote,
Order, honourable members. May I ask the Chief Whip of the ANC to do the same, please? Otherwise, we are not going to get through the speech. Let's be fair, honourable members, let's be fair. Even if you disagree with what the honourable member is saying, the honourable member in terms of the rights and the Constitution have the right to say what he wants to say. Order. Please proceed.
Whitfield subsequently wrote to the President to apologize if he had caused offence. Again, he received no response. Then yesterday, months after the incident, and without a further word on it, the President unilaterally removed a DA Deputy Minister without even giving his largest coalition partner an opportunity to discuss it with the member or his party.
Order, honourable members.
Now, according to the President's spokesperson, this move is not part of a broader reshuffle. And there can therefore be no other conclusion to be drawn that this is a calculated assault on the second largest party in the governing coalition. But
Order, honourable members.
what makes matters worse is that this unilateral action is a result and a product of a flagrant double standard. While a DA deputy minister is removed for not getting a response to seeking permission to travel, there are members in the cabinet who are implicated in the VBS scandal and looting. There are members in the cabinet. There are members in the
Order,
cabinet
honourable members.
who, despite apparently misleading Parliament over an attempt to deploy corrupt cadres to CETA boards, remains in the cabinet. Serial underperformers and people implicated in state capture continue to sit around the cabinet table. Now, instead of being summarily fired, like DM Whitfield was, these ministers get an opportunity to submit a report to the president on their behavior. In the past, even ministers who had serious public protector findings against them were merely admonished or had their pay docked. Yet a DA deputy minister is dismissed with the flimsiest of excuses. Are the people of South Africa expected to accept that fraudsters, corruption accused and Zondo accused are protected while Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield is removed? But perhaps there's something even deeper at play here. Like all DA ministers and deputy ministers, contrary to what the Honourable Tambo said, Andrew Whitfield was succeeding in his job. He had opposed the attempt to make suspect appointments to the IDC board. He was raising uncomfortable questions about the Transformation Fund and the opportunities it provides for looting. And yes, he was asking the uncomfortable questions about the Lotto Tender Award. Now, given this flagrant double standard, one is left with no choice but to conclude that hard-working DA members of the executive are fired for fighting corruption, not for committing corruption. For being good at their jobs rather than incompetent. Now, if this situation is not corrected, it will go down as the greatest political mistake in modern South African history. And so, seeing the president is now cleaning house, I would like to suggest that he sweeps in front of his own doorstep before he sweeps in front of the DA's doorstep. It's Parliament. Deputy Minister for doing his job, but isn't prepared to move other ministers and deputy ministers for not doing as theirs. That is hypocrisy of the highest form, and it cannot be brooked. Now, the ball is now then in the president's court, and he must show us now that he's a man of his word. Madam Speaker, it would be very easy for a party that had been treated with such disdain from a coalition partner to vote against this bill today. But precisely because we are nothing like the ANC, the DA will always put South Africa's interests over narrow party interests. We will vote for this bill today, not for politics, but for South Africa. And
Order, honourable members. Order, honourable members.
And in doing so, we will demonstrate to all of our coalition partners that when we give our word, you can rely on it, and that when we say we're going to do something, we will do it. However, this is now a moment of truth. Within the next 48 hours, we will find out if the DA stands alone as the only party that can be trusted to govern responsibly and take South Africa forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honourable member. The next speaker is the Honourable Reddy.
Thank you, House Chair. I would like the country to look at this auditorium today. Today we're talking about drug abuse and something that's tearing our communities, and people like John Steenhuisen, the Honorable John Steenhuisen, leader of the DA, walks out. Leader of the PA, Gayton McKenzie, walks out. Many MPs here leaves the House when we're discussing an important issue that's affecting millions of lives of our South Africans. But colleagues, I am here to talk to you about our role as members of parliament, as honorable members that we call ourselves. As honorable members, I seek your protection.
Yes, Order, Honorable Deputy Minister. You're sitting right in front of the podium and you are really interjecting and disrupting the speech of the member. Please continue, Honorable Member.
So we've seen today an example of what is going on in this country. We are the lawmakers. We are here to protect, uphold the law. We are here to make laws to protect our citizens. Yet we find that in this very House, the laws are broken. Two incidents happened. Number one, Honorable John Steenhuisen used this platform to come here and talk about something that was not related to the topic at all. He wanted to come here and make a media statement.
Order, Honorable
Totally
Members.
out of the topic.
Order. Honorable Reddy, take your seat. The Honorable Michaelakas.
Thank you, House Chairperson. House Chairperson, with due respect, between Rule 92, a point of order. Unlike you, I know the rules, Honourable Member. House Chairperson, the Honourable Reddy indicates that the Honourable Steenhuisen broke the rules of the House. However, none of their members were actually on their feet on a point of order. We did see today that the Chief Whip of the Opposition is sleeping. That's why she missed the vote.
Honourable Member.
But they should have stood up on a point of order at the relevant point.
Take your seat. Please proceed, Honorable Reddy.
I beg to differ with you.
Honorable Reddy. Honorable
Brian
Reddy.
Molefe.
Honorable Reddy, take your seat. There's you're no longer taking a point of order. Please continue, Honorable Reddy.
Honorable Brian Molefe raised a point of order that Honorable Steenhuisen was completely out of the topic. But what happened? Suddenly, Mr. Ramaphosa removes one of his deputy ministers. They get a shock. They get worried that they're going to lose their cabinet ministers. So he comes here in a state of desperation and uses this space to make a media statement. And we want us to believe that we are upholding the law. Secondly, we would dispute the revenue bill because it doesn't work in favor of our people. We object to it. And this House Chair allows those infringements to take place. And this is where it starts. Today,
Honorable Reddy,
what I have to
will you
say
just
to
take your seat, please? I want to draw your attention to Rule 87. Reflections upon the House and the proceedings and its decisions that it takes. The rule is clear that you may not reflect in a disrespectful manner upon the House. Take your seat, please. Or its forums and committees or upon their proceedings and decisions. I was presiding at the time and I dealt with the matter. The rules spell out a process that may be followed, and please follow that process instead of questioning the decisions of the House. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, I would like you, if you are sensitive and if you have a weak heart, to please put on your earphones, because what I'm going to say to you today is going to have a real impact on you if you have a weak heart. I do not stand here as a member of parliament. I stand here before you as a father. I stand before you as a brother. I stand before you as a friend and as a member of a hurting community. I stand with the weight of countless South African families who are crying out for help as drugs tighten their grips on our homes, our children, and our futures. Honorable House Chair, last week in Phoenix, a tragedy unfolded that shook me to the core. An 83-year-old grandmother who happens to be blind, Kamachi Naika, was brutally stabbed to death in her home. Her daughter, a 63-year-old Shirley Appelsamy, survived multiple stab wounds and now lies in hospital. I happened to have visited her. Her throat was slit because the assailant tried to take out her chain. Now here is the most grotesque part. The perpetrator of this was not somebody unknown. It was actually her own grandson. A child that she once cradled, now consumed by addiction and turned into a monster. But this was not just an act of violence. It was a murder of trust. A grandmother slain by the very child she once nursed. Members, what kind of darkness is this? What kind of poison corrupts so deeply that families become foe? The answer is simple. It is drugs. But Phoenix is not alone. Here in Cape Town, a teenage boy was found lifeless behind his school, a needle still in his arm. In El Dorado Park, a mother had to pull a child out of a shallow grave after a gang war fueled by turf and tick. If you don't know what tick is, it's also another form of common drug that's easily available to our children. In Chatsworth, I met a mother who had no choice but to chain her son to a bed just to keep him from stealing and using drugs again. These are not horror stories. These are real people. They are our people. I have worked with street children. There was a young girl that I met on the street, Lindiwe. She was 11 years old, a most beautiful child. She ran away from home. She refused to go back. She was hooked on drugs. Her mother was a school principal and would come to the streets in the evenings just to see a child and beg a child to come home. I met the mother. I met the child. 3 days after that meeting, we found a lifeless body near a manhole on Mahatma Gandhi Street. That is the reality. As my own children were growing up, my wife and I would pray every night that they never come into contact with drugs. Because when that substance enters your home, peace will leave. And it doesn't knock. It barges in. It breaks everything. Trust, joy, love, and everything. Drug dealers, my friends, are real. And they are not hiding. They prey on our children. They stand at school gates. They whisper offers in corners. They sponsor events and shake the hands of politicians and the police. Some are even protected. And in some cases, the police are turning a blind eye. Or worse, they are taking a cut. Let me ask you, and I want to be honest about this. Is there anyone here who can truly stand up and say, you are untouched by this crisis? Is there no one in your family, in your community, in your heart, who has not been consumed by this plague? Even in this house, I know there are members who understand the pain I speak of, who have buried, who have wept, who have prayed like we have. Rehabilitation is supposed to be our hope, but too often it has become a failure. It's underfunded, overcrowded, and disconnected from reality. Over 60% of those who seek help relapse within months. But there is hope. In the city of Tshwane, the community-oriented substance use program, a methadone-based treatment model, has shown great promise. More than 70% of the participants remain in treatment after 6 months. That's not just a number, that is a lifeline. Imagine if this success could be replicated across our nation. If every child in pain had access to this kind of care. But it cannot happen on hope alone. It needs commitment, it needs funding, it needs leadership from each and every one of us. Not to use this opportunity to show our anger against each other. Let's transfer that anger to the drug dealers, to drug substance abuse. Let's join hands, all of us, and let's do it. It needs funding and it needs a political will. And yet, while we host expensive conferences, etc., the very backbone of our community response is dying. Families are suffering in silence. Members, addiction doesn't care about color, class, or creed. On behalf of MK Party, the progressive parties here, we want to make this call. We want to establish a national crack anti-drug unit, independent and comprised of local police structures. Empower them with the ability to raid, seize, and arrest quickly, effectively, and fearlessly. If SARS can attach your accounts without getting a court order, why can't we give the police the power to go in and attach the drugs, confiscate the drugs from drug dens? Roll out the successful Tshwane methadone model across the country. Ring fence a dedicated budget for rehabilitation services. Task the Department of Health and the Department of Social Development alongside the Department of Police to lead this charge, not in words, but in daily measurable action. Let us break the chains, not only those around the wrists of addicts, but the chains that bind families in silence, that bind communities in fear, that bind governments in indifference. Let this parliament rise with one voice. For Kamachi, for Shirley, for the children beneath the bridges, for the mothers who have run out of tears. Let us remember as this parliament that we broke the chains. We did not just debate them. There is a person, I don't know what's his name, but he accused our Spitfire, our spokesman, of being a drug addict. What's his name? Fraud something. He went and got tested and he proved that this guy is a liar because the test showed that he's clear. So maybe we should all be doing that even with our own children. Thank you for listening and let us make this a reality. Let's fight the scourge of drugs in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Masango.